One of the new features available for managing sandbox instances is the reset option. When you reset an instance, it deletes the instance completely and re-provisions a new instance from scratch. This can be useful when you're starting a new implementation or have completed a project and you'd like to free up the storage consumed by a large sandbox instance. It is important to note that you can only reset sandbox instances. It is not currently possible to reset a production instance. Also, as mentioned, the operation will delete the selected instance and provision a new one. You will not be able to recover any data from the instance that you reset. Let's take a quick look at how you can reset a sandbox instance in Microsoft Dynamics CRM Online. First, you log into the Microsoft Online Services portal, which the normal URL for that would be portal.microsoftonline.com, and then within the navigation bar, you would choose to switch to your CRM management, and here you'd see a list of all your different CRM instances. So you might have one or more instances. So if you have something other than your production instance, one of those instances might be a sandbox instance. And a sandbox instance type represents any of the different test instance types or non-production instance types, such as one that you got automatically by having over 25 professional users, or one that you purchased for a lower price to add to your existing production instance. So any of those non-production instances will show up as sandbox instance as the type. And you'll notice as I switch between those two different types, I'll see that I see different options that appear. So you'll see that if I switch back to one of my sandbox instances, I see some additional options here for reset and admin. We'll have different demonstrations that cover all these other options, but on this one we're going to be focused on the reset option. So when I'm on a sandbox instance, I see that reset option. I don't see it for production. It's only available for sandbox instances currently. When I choose a sandbox instance, I can choose to reset this, and what that's going to do is it's going to delete that existing instance and re-provision a new one from scratch. So it's basically completely getting rid of that existing one and starting a new one. And there's different reasons you might do that for starting a new project or other purposes. So one thing to make sure to understand though is that it will delete that existing instance, and you cannot recover that data or any of the customizations in that instance that you're resetting. And because of that, you'll get a warning when you choose to reset this. Also, before you reset it, you can choose to change the friendly name or URL or purpose of this before you reset it. You can also change those things later too. So I'm going to click reset, and here I get a prompt that I need to confirm that I do want to reset this, and that's going to delete all the data, including the customizations. It's going to be returned to factory settings. And it mentions I won't be able to recover that deleted data as mentioned. So here I'll choose yes. And you'll notice that the state switches to preparing instance. So in addition to the state showing up as preparing instance, you'll notice that there's a little informational message mentioning that it's currently being set up and this may take a few minutes. So as mentioned, it's having to delete that and bring up a brand new instance from scratch, so that will take a few minutes. So what I can do is I can choose to refresh this, see if it's done yet. It's not, so I'll come back here in a moment and we'll take a look at what happens once that instance is ready to start using again. So I've waited one more minute and then refresh my browser, and I can see that the state is now showing up as ready to configure. If you've ever had an instance added to your subscription, you would notice that that's the initial state for any new instance. And the way you get started is the same way with any of your other brand new instances. Just click Edit, you change any of the settings you want, and then choose to continue, and then that instance will switch to the ready state. Just in case you've never gone through this process before, once you click Continue on that previous page, this is the next page you see, and then you can choose to click Configure CRM after choosing whatever currency you want. And then your instance should be ready, and you'll see an option to launch the CRM Online instance. So now you can see I've successfully logged into that reset instance, and because I reset it, all the data and customizations that were in that previous instance are gone. It basically deleted the database and created a new one. And so I can start from scratch now. Also, because I'm logging into a sandbox instance, I see that navigation change that's different now between sandbox and production instances, where the navigation bar is orange instead of the dark blue, and there's also this watermark here that says sandbox. So this helps me when I'm switching between my production and non-production instances, so I don't accidentally make changes to production when I want to be logging into one of my non-production instances, or vice versa. So the last thing I wanted to show is that when you're looking at your list of instances, you'll now see that the state has switched from ready to configure to ready. So any of the users that have permission to log into that instance could now log in and start accessing.